Chapter 8, Mishnah 1. The following chapter deals with situations in which a Nazir is uncertain if he became Tameh from a corpse. The Mishnah will teach how the Nazir concludes his Nazirus in such situations. The uncertainty creates two major problems for the Nazir. On the one hand, a Nazir who becomes Tameh must shave his head before he could begin counting his term of Nazirus again. On the other hand, a Nazir who is not Tameh is forbidden to shave his head until his term ends. Thus, a Nazir who is uncertain whether he is Tameh faces a difficulty in finishing his term. He cannot shave his head because he may be Tahor, and he cannot complete his Nazirus because he needs to shave his head in order to start counting his term of Nazirus again. A second problem facing this Nazir is which set of offerings to bring. A Nazir who is Tameh brings one set of offerings, while a Nazir who is Tahor and concludes his term brings a different set of offerings. These are all obligatory offerings. However, a person cannot bring an obligatory offering unless he is obligated to do so. Since this person does not know which set of offerings he is obligated to bring, it would seem that he cannot bring either of them. Our Mishnah will explain how such a Nazir solves these problems and concludes his Nazirus. If two Nazirim were standing together and someone who was watching them from a distance said to them, "I saw that one of you became Tameh from a corpse-related tumah, but I do not know which one of you became Tameh." As a result, each Nazir is now in doubt whether he became Tameh or is still Tahor. The one who became Tameh must now shave, bring the offerings for the shaving of Tumah, and start counting his Nazirus over again. The one who is still Tahor is forbidden to shave now, until he finishes his term of Nazirus, when he must bring the offerings for the shaving of Tahara. Since neither one knows what to do, they should adopt the following procedure. They continue to observe the laws of Nazirus until 30 days have passed from the time they began their Nazirus. At the end of these 30 days, they shave their heads, since this is now permitted whether they are Tameh or Tahor. And they bring between them the offering for Tumah and the offering for Tahara. One of the Nazirim then says to the other, "If I am the one who is Tameh and you are the one who is Tahor, then the offering for Tumah is mine and the offering for Tahara is yours. But if I am the one who is Tahor and you are the one who is Tameh, then the offering for Tahara is mine and the offering for Tumah is yours." Thus, the one who is Tameh can now start counting his Nazirus over again, while the one who is Tahor has concluded his Nazirus. However, we still do not know which of them has completed his term and which has just now begun to count his term. They must therefore do the following. They now count another 30 days of Nazirus, and at the end of these 30 days, they bring between them the offering for Tahara to conclude this new Nazirus count. Since only the one who was originally Tameh is finishing this new count, only one set of offerings is brought, and it is designated for the correct Nazir in the following way. One of the Nazirim says to the other, "If I am the one who was Tameh and you are the one who was Tahor, then the offering for Tumah that was brought previously was mine. The offering for Tahara that was brought then was yours and concluded your Nazirus. And this offering of Tahara being brought now is mine to conclude my new count of Nazirus. But if I am the Nazir who was Tahor and you are the one who was Tameh, then the offering of Tahara that was brought previously was mine and concluded my Nazirus. And the offering of Tumah that was brought then was yours. And you began to count your new term and have now concluded it in Tahara, so that this offering of Tahara being brought now is yours to complete your Nazirus. In this matter, both of them successfully complete their terms of Nazirus and make their offerings." The Mishnah discusses a case where the procedure just outlined cannot be used. If one of the Nazirim died before they had a chance to act on the procedure described above, what should the surviving Nazir do? Rabbi Yeshua said, the surviving Nazir should look for someone in the street who will vow to be a Nazir opposite him, i.e., who is interested in becoming a Nazir, and who will agree to accept his Nazirus under the special conditions the Mishnah will now state. And the surviving Nazir says to him, "If I was the one of the original Nazirim who became Tameh, you should become a Nazir right now for 30 days. But if I am the one who is Tahor, you should become a Nazir after 30 days, i.e., your Nazirus should first begin 30 days from now and continue for 30 days after that. Thus, after the first 30 days, only one of them will be concluding his Nazirus and be obligated to bring Tahara offerings, and they can bring these offerings for whichever one really needs it. This is arranged in the following way. They first count 30 days so that if the new Nazir actually became a Nazir right away, his term has ended. And they then bring an offering for Tumah and an offering for Tahara. The offering for Tumah is brought by the surviving Nazir for himself, so that if he was Tameh, he can now restart his Nazirus count, while the offering for Tahara is brought by both Nazirim together. The surviving Nazir then says to the new Nazir, "If I am the one of the original Nazirim who was Tameh, the offering for Tuma is mine, and the offering of Tahara is yours, since you became a Nazir immediately and have just finished your term of Naziris. But if I am the one who is Tahor, then I am the one now concluding my term, and the offering for Tahara is mine, and you have just begun your Naziris, and the offering for Tuma is brought in doubt. This takes care of any possible Tuma. At this point, the surviving Nazir is either beginning to count as Naziris, if he was Tameh before, or he is finished with his Naziris, if he was not Tameh. The new Nazir is just the opposite. Under the terms of their agreement, if the surviving Nazir is now counting his Naziris, then the new Nazir is finished with his Naziris. And if the surviving Nazir is finished with his Naziris, then the new Nazir is now counting his term of Naziris. The Mishnah explains how they proceed. They now count another 30 days because one of them is definitely a Nazir now. And after this, they bring between them another offering for Tahara to conclude this additional Naziris term. One offering is enough for both of them, because only one of them is really obligated in this term. The surviving Nazir says to the new Nazir, if I am the one who was Tameh, the offering for Tuma brought previously was mine, and the offering for Tahara that was brought then was yours, and concluded your Naziris. And this offering for Tahara that is being brought now is mine to conclude my Naziris. But if I am the one who was Tahor, then the offering for Tahara brought previously was mine to conclude my Naziris, and the offering for Tuma that was brought at that time was offered in doubt. And this Tahara offering being brought now is yours to complete your Naziris. The next Tana rejects this solution as being impractical and gives a different solution instead. Ben Zoma said to Rabbi Yeshua, now, who will listen to the surviving Nazir to vow to become a Nazir opposite him by making a Naziris that has two possible starting dates, as you suggest? Nobody will want to accept such a Naziris because he will then have to practice Naziris for an extra 30 days in doubt. Rather, the surviving Nazir should deal with his uncertainty on his own by doing the following. He should observe his original 30-day term and then bring a bird chatas for a Tuma offering in case he was Tameh, and an animal, a male lamb, as an olah for a Tahara offering in case he was Tahor. He then says, if I was Tameh, the bird chatas is part of my obligation to bring Tuma offerings. And the animal olah, which I am not obligated to bring now since I was Tameh, is a voluntary offering. But if I was Tahor, the olah will be offered as a part of my obligation to bring the Tahara offerings, and the chatas, which I do not need since I was Tahor, is brought in doubt for the possibility that I may have been Tameh. At this point, the person is certainly not a Nazir Tameh anymore. He must still, however, account for the possibility that he had been Tameh and must now count as Naziris again. He therefore does the following. He counts another 30 days of Naziris because he might have been Tameh and must now count his Naziris term again. And he then brings the full offering for Tahara, the Olah, the Chatas, and the Shalamim to complete his Naziris. If he had been Tameh before, then he has just finished his new term in Tahara, and all three offerings are for concluding his Naziris. On the other hand, if he had not been Tameh, then his term ended 30 days ago, when he brought the Olah and shaved, but he still owes the Chatas and Shalamim from that set of offerings, since he brought only the Olah at that time. Thus, the Chatas and Shalamim he brings now count for that. He does not, however, owe another Olah. He must therefore make the Olah conditional as follows. He says, if I was Tameh, then the first Olah, the one brought at the end of the first 30 days, was a voluntary offering, and this Olah is for my obligation and part of the Tahara offerings for the conclusion of my Naziris. But if I was Tahor, then the first Olah, the one I brought 30 days ago, was for my obligation to bring an offering for Tahara, and this Olah that I am bringing now is a voluntary offering, and this Chatas and Shalamim that I am bringing now is the remainder of my Tahara offering. These, together with the Olah I brought previously, have now completed my Tahara offering. Rabbi Yeshua raises a difficulty with Ben Zoma's solution. Rabbi Yeshua said the result of this procedure is that this Nazir brings his Tahara offerings in parts, because if he was Tahor, he brought his Olah at the end of the first 30 days, and the Chatas and Shalamim at the end of the second 30 days. The Mishnah concludes, however, the sages agreed with Ben Zoma that the Nazir should do what he suggested, and there is no problem with bringing the Tahara offering at two separate times.